confused. No, it's okay. This is good. This is good. This is fine. Thank you, Prabhu. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Vidyati. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Mahayajna ki, Jai Shri Yashoda Damodar ji ki, Jai Shri Kartik Maas ki, Jai Gaura Premanande. Thank you, Rishikant Prabhu, Jita Mataji, thank you for having us over today. Thank you very much. It's so important that during this Kartik Maas, we try to remember the great form of the Lord as Damodara. And Damodara means one who has been tied by the ropes, and his belly, is bound by the ropes of Mother Yashoda. That is the meaning of Damodar. In this month, we remember Lord Damodar because of the pastime between him and his devotee. And his devotee is Mother Yashoda. You will realize that Krishna is never alone. In all his pastimes, none of his pastimes is actually alone. In all his pastimes, he is always with devotees. This is a very important point. So this actually teaches us a very important point in devotional service also. In bhakti, you cannot execute bhakti alone. If you sit in a cave and try to execute bhakti, your mind will take over. In Kali Yuga, it is practically impossible for us to actually try to find a way to perform and improve our devotional service just by being alone. Previously in Treta Yuga and Satya Yuga and all these other places, it was very different because our minds were so much more controlled. But Shastras tell us that in Kali Yuga, it is very difficult to perform bhakti alone. Therefore, even if we have the tendency to think that I can just do whatever I want in devotional service alone, you'll find that eventually we will stray away because we're not guided by higher principles. Therefore, it's just like children. You can only leave a child alone for a while. If you leave your children unattended, they will run amok. If these children are not taken care of by the parents, they will bring chaos because it is their nature. Therefore, we are also like that in devotion service. We cannot have the pride to think that we have the capacity to perform bhakti on our own. And that's why you will find in all these beautiful pastimes between Krishna and the devotees, Krishna is always teaching us this very important lesson that we cannot do anything without his mercy. And the devotees become very happy when they are amongst devotees and performing devotional service. Like all of us have come here together. This is the greatness of devotional service. Mother Yashoda woke up on the morning of Diwali day. And when she woke up, she dressed herself very beautifully in a sari, and she put on flowers, and she dressed up very nicely for the pleasure of Krishna. And she wanted to do service for Krishna at the very start of the day. And this is the mood of a devotee. Mother Yashoda's mood is so instructive to all of us that we can learn it on a daily basis. When she woke up, she had so many maidservants at her disposal. But Bhagavatam told us that she didn't want to ask any of the maidservants to do something for Krishna because she wanted to do the primary activity for Krishna. And the primary activity for Krishna that morning was to churn butter for him. And so she got the best milk actually from the best cows. And lovingly she started chanting the names of Krishna, and she started remembering Krishna by chanting his names, and she started remembering all his pastimes. So while she was performing her duty of churning for Krishna, her mind was not running everywhere. Her mind was very engaged. So this is a very important point for us. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, tells us that our mind and our senses must become engaged in bhakti. Sarva upadi vinir muktam. If we don't have our senses engaged in bhakti, then what will happen is that we will become attached to material designations. This is a very important point in Shastra. If we are not using our senses in the service of Krishna, then what happens is that we will develop a desire and a hankering for material designation, for material name and fame. And that is very dangerous because that will take us away from Krishna. So therefore, by serving Krishna, we actually check our pride and we also check our false ego. It is a very natural thing. The moment you serve Krishna in that mood, you are already curbing your pride. You don't have to do it extraneously. It happens as a byproduct. This is very important. So Mother Yashoda did that. And that's why in Bhagavad Gita it is stated, Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma Videyatma. Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma. That means a devotee who performs devotional service, which is yoga, linking process. And in doing that, he is actually, or she in this case, is actually linking herself to Krishna. That is the meaning of yoga. And so Mother Yashoda continued her service for Krishna, and she was very peaceful and she was very happy. And as she was performing this, she was remembering all his pastimes. And the important thing that Mother Yashoda was doing is that she was remembering Krishna favorably. The demons also remember Krishna. In Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 1st chapter, the whole chapter is devoted to how Krishna is equal to everyone. And Narada Muni makes a case. He says the demons also remember Krishna. And Krishna is equal to the demons and the devotees. Demons get oxygen, we get oxygen. Demons have water, we have water. So in that way, Krishna is equal to everyone. But the important thing is that Krishna's equality is also reciprocatory. This is an important point. Therefore, it is stated nicely that actually if we were to try to serve Krishna, the greatness of Krishna is that he will reciprocate. So therefore, it's very important that when we perform devotional service, we perform it favorably. Unfavorably means we are envious of Krishna, we are not happy with Krishna, we want something from Krishna, and when we don't get it, we become angry with Krishna. That is all unfavorable devotional service. So Mother Yashoda did not have such unfavorable devotional service. Her devotional service was very congenial, very loving, and very favorable. And so because she was so peacefully doing her devotional service, even while she was performing a mundane activity, this is very important. Sometimes we think devotional service must be something in the sky, must be some extraordinary activity, but it doesn't have to be. It can be something as simple as making butter for Krishna. and that itself will please Krishna. So it is not the nature of the activity that's important. It is the consciousness behind the activity that's important. And the other thing that Srila Prabhupada told us to do was to always remain dynamic in our Krishna consciousness. We should never keep still. We should always be doing something for Krishna. Even though Mother Yashoda was a housewife, she didn't have much time because her whole day was spent somehow or another serving Krishna. If Krishna, she would get ready all the items in the morning for Krishna, feed him, bathe him, change him, clothe him, and then he would go away with the gopas for the whole day practically in the forest. But during that time, Mother Yashoda was not idle. She was churning butter for Krishna. She was remembering Krishna. She was getting ornaments ready for Krishna. So by the time Krishna came back, she was completely absorbed in Krishna. And when Krishna came back, she would take time to bathe Krishna because Krishna would be disheveled with all the dust from the footprints of the cows. And in that way, she would pass her entire day with Krishna. So devotional service is dynamic. We cannot have a downtime in devotional service. If we try to do that, actually our devotional service will not improve. We will become disturbed actually. So Mother Yashoda did this so nicely, this churning of butter, that Krishna came out and he reciprocated by asking her to feed him. And so Mother Yashoda put him on her lap and she started feeding him her milk. And she became so blissful. And Krishna also became very blissful. But Mother Yashoda had to put Krishna down because she had also put a pot of milk that she had churned initially, and she wanted that pot of milk also for Krishna. She had prepared all of this for Krishna, and the pot was going to boil over. So Mother Yashoda was thinking, should I put Krishna down and save the milk, or should I leave the milk and just continue to feed Krishna? But Mother Yashoda was thinking that the milk is important for Krishna, so let me put him down carefully and quickly come back again. We are always put in awkward situations like Mother Yashoda. And sometimes we don't always make the best decisions. But we should understand that when we are placed in an awkward position, that awkwardness is also Krishna's mercy. Parikshit Maharaj was placed in a very awkward position in Bhagavatam, wasn't he? Because he inadvertently offended Shamika Rishi. He was very tired, he was thirsty, he was hungry, he had not even eaten for the whole day. And so when he came to Shamika Rishi's hermitage, he thought the least we can get is a little bit of water. But Shamika Rishi was seated and he was remembering Krishna. And in his tiredness and fatigue, Parikshit Maharaj became very upset. And so he thought, since this sage is sitting down, like he's a very great personality, I should garland him. And so he found a date snake, and he picked up the date snake, and he used it as a garland. See, now this garland has flowers. Now, if somebody put a garland of date snake on me, first of all, I'll panic, isn't it? I'll get up. But Shamika Rishi did not even get up because he was genuinely absorbed in remembering Krishna. So therefore, that proved that he was actually not doing it on purpose, but he was remembering Krishna. So here you have Shamika Rishi, a great devotee, and Parikshit Maharaj, a great devotee. But Krishna created an awkward situation between two great devotees that there appeared to be a misunderstanding. So then Parikshit Maharaj got very upset and he did that. But as he walked away, Parikshit Maharaj could realize in his heart that what he did was wrong. And therefore he repented. This is a mood of a devotee. And so the same thing has happened here. In this case, Mother Yashoda wanted to save the milk. She was placed in a very awkward situation. And she thought when she comes back, Krishna would be nice and peaceful. But Krishna doesn't create such situations because he wants us to heighten our remembrance of him. In good times, it's very difficult for us to remember Krishna intensely. But in bad times, when everything is going against us or we are placed in an awkward situation, it's much easier to remember Krishna. And therefore, when Mother Yashoda came back after saving the milk, she was very surprised because Krishna was not there. In his transcendental anger, Krishna had actually smashed the pot that Mother Yashoda had lovingly made and churned, and all the butter had come out. Why? Because Krishna in his heart thought, I must teach my mother a lesson for putting me down. Now you may think, why is the Supreme Personality of Godhead behaving like a spoiled child? But children are like that, isn't it? They have tantrums, they are not easy, and therefore Krishna played the perfect part of a child. When when Krishna was a son, as a young boy, he also was a perfect child. He was a very filial boy. He would carry Nanda Maharaj's slippers on his head every morning and bring it to his father so that his father could wear the slippers. So children are like that. They can be very loving one moment, they can throw a tantrum with you, but it doesn't mean they don't care for you. So therefore, Krishna acted the perfect role of the son. And therefore, in transcendental anger, Bhagavatam says, his lips becoming reddish and becoming very angry, he smashed the pot. And then he realized what he had done. And that's also very childlike, isn't it? Generally, children do something and regret. Actually, forget children, even adults do it all the time. Isn't it true? We do something and then later we regret. Oh, I shouldn't have. Sorry, Prabhu. Sorry, Mataji. That shows how childish we are actually. But we do that all the time. So then Krishna decided, let's run away. Let's not stay around because now Mother Yashoda will come back. So when Mother Yashoda came back and she saw that Krishna had actually smashed all the hard work, she was not becoming upset with Krishna. She was thinking, he's very intelligent. He's not here. Otherwise, he will get the full force of my anger. So therefore, I must go and stop him from doing this. This is not correct. So Mother Yashoda did not display anger. This is very important. You find all the great devotees of the Lord, it may appear sometimes that they were disturbed or they were in a difficult point and they appeared to be angry. But very often, their anger is always for a purpose. When Lord Shiva became very angry with Daksha, and eventually as Virabhadra, he actually killed Daksha and chopped off his head, it was not on account of anger. It was on account of teaching Daksha the lesson of what happens when one becomes so proud that he doesn't understand his constitutional position. It was also because of Daksha's great offense to his daughter Sati that he ignored her completely to the point where she became so hurt and she self-immolated herself. This is very important. So therefore, when the great devotees of the Lord want to discipline us or they want to punish us, even when Krishna wants to punish us, that punishment is actually their mercy. This is what we should understand. In this pastime, there are two punishments. The first punishment is Mother Yashoda's punishment on Krishna. And later there will be the punishment of Narada Muni on the sons of Kuvera. But both these punishments are not punishments. They are actually blessings. Whenever we interact and associate with devotees, whatever we get from them is always good for us. Please remember that. It may appear to be difficult, it may appear to be mysterious, but it is always good for us. This we should accept with faith. So Krishna ran inside and Mother Yashoda chased him with a stick. And when he rushed inside, instead of just sitting down in fear, Mother Yashoda saw an amazing sight. Krishna had got on top of mortar and he was taking all the pots that were kept high up in the ceiling. He was breaking them and he was giving all the butter to his good friends, the monkeys. So Krishna was not idle. In fact, in Krishna Leela, you will never find an instance where Krishna is just sitting down and doing nothing. Right? He's always active because the active principle is in all of us. And Krishna, when he is left to his own devices, he's not doing anything, but he's only serving the devotees. If you see Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, all he was doing was serving the devotees. Devotees were serving him, but he was serving the devotees. Prabhupada says, actually Krishna does not have to create, annihilate or preserve because all that is done by his energy. So then what does Krishna do? Krishna has plenty of time, but he uses that always in the service of devotees. And so here also he did the same thing. He picked up butter and he started giving food to all, prasadam distribution to all the devotees. And these devotees were monkeys. They appeared like monkeys, but they were the same Vanaras who had served Krishna as Lord Ram in Ram Leela. And therefore Krishna's reciprocation with them was not between a mischievous boy and a monkey, but between the great Lord and his equally great devotees. The monkeys, the Vanaras, they were pure devotees of the Lord. When Ram Leela ended, they did not ask for anything from Krishna as Lord Ram. The only thing that they asked was that if you come back again to this world, you please give us an opportunity to also serve you. And this is the greatness of devotees. Devotees don't want anything from Krishna. They may have some challenges in life, but they accept that Krishna knows what is best for them. But they are always ready to serve Krishna. Even if they are in difficulty, they will serve Krishna. The Vanaras were put in so much difficulty with Ravana's army. If you read Ramayana carefully, Ravana's army was formidable. And the Vanaras, many of them perished also on the battlefield. But frankly, if you think about it, it wasn't even their fight to begin with. Lord Ram should have summoned his own army from Ayodhya. But Sugriva, such a great devotee, he pledged with the Vanaras, they pledged an undying faith and loyalty to Lord Ram. And they took on that battle. So Lord Ram's battle became their battle. So how much sacrifice the Vanaras did actually. And that is why in Krishna Leela, in this pastime, the Lord lovingly served each and every monkey. This was the fulfillment of their desire and a fulfillment of the Lord's desire. But when the monkeys saw Krishna and they saw Mother Yashoda behind at the door, then they became afraid. And they thought, now I must run away. So they all ran away, leaving Krishna alone with Mother Yashoda. When Krishna turned and he saw Mother Yashoda with the stick, he became very upset. Not only did he become upset, he became very frightened. And therefore he jumped off the motor and he began running away from his mother. He didn't run to his mother, he ran away from his mother. And Mother Yashoda thought, it's time to catch him. Because Diwali is halfway through. I haven't done anything else today. You know, imagine on the day you're supposed to do so many other things and you're supposed to receive guests, you get stuck with your child because child is throwing a tantrum. It's very difficult, isn't it, for mothers? So she started running after him. And she thought this will take a few minutes because parents, you know you can catch your children very quickly, right? Even if they are running fast, either you catch their pants or their shirt or their hair, something you'll catch and you pull them back. But Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is very powerful. It is very difficult to catch him. Many yogis, many tyagis, many great siddhas, they are all sitting down for millenniums trying to capture Krishna and run after Krishna. They do it in the form of meditation, in the form of yogic postures, in so many austerities, but they cannot attain Krishna. Because you cannot attain Krishna through mental speculation. You cannot attain him through yogic processes. You cannot attain Krishna through mental gymnastics either. And neither can you attract Krishna because you are austere. You can only attract Krishna and you can only ultimately capture Krishna like Mother Yashoda did if you have two things. One, you have unmotivated bhakti. In Mother Yashoda's heart, she had nothing to ask from Krishna but everything to give to Krishna. This is very important. She didn't ask for anything, but she would give. That's her first quality. The second quality that she had was the fact that Mother Yashoda was completely humble. There was no pride in her heart. And therefore her catching Krishna was not a win for her. It was simply a humble effort to discipline her boy out of love. That's it. But when she couldn't catch him, Mother Yashoda surrendered to Krishna. She surrendered to him. She said, Krishna, I can't catch you. Can you please stop so I can catch you? And when Krishna heard that loving devotion and prayer of Mother Yashoda, he surrendered himself to her. So when a devotee surrenders to Krishna, Krishna surrenders to that devotee. It's a very beautiful exchange between Krishna and the devotees. Surrender is not only coming from the devotee, surrender also comes from the Lord. And Mother Yashoda's surrender attracted Krishna to surrender. And so he surrendered himself, and Mother Yashoda came up to him and she realized that he was in a state of great fright. He was so fearful, his whole body was shaking, his tears were running. And Bhagavatam says, Kalilanjana Sambramaksham, the ointment and mascara on his eyes, they were all flowing down because of his tears. You know, sometimes when children become very afraid, they cry and their whole bodies shake. And that is what happened to Krishna. So Mother Yashoda's heart melted. And she thought, this is not what I want for my child. But at the same time, she was not so naive. She's a mother. She knows that children also know how to cry. They know when to cry. They know how to get things from us. That is true, isn't it? So Mother Yashoda decided, I will not discipline him with my stick, but I will tie him to the mota so that he will be still for a while because he's such a restless child. And therefore, I will tie him and I will go and do my work. So Mother Yashoda said, Krishna, stand still. And she got some ropes and she brought the ropes around Krishna But to her surprise, the ropes could not fit. She couldn't bring them together to even tie one knot. They were 2 inches apart. And so she got more rope. And Krishna was still standing there looking extremely frightened and meek and humble. But Mother Yashoda couldn't tie him. She asked the maidservants and the gopis, bring me more rope. And now the other gopis also came. And they watched with amazement, how is it that we can't tie little Krishna? And so Mother Yashoda got all the ropes available in the house. It was hundreds of feet, Padma Puran tells us. But it could not tie Krishna. It could tie the whole house, but it couldn't tie Krishna. And so Mother Yashoda, for the third time in the day, the first time in the day, she worked very hard for Krishna by churning butter. So much endeavor. The second time in the day, she was running after Krishna. And the third time in the day, she was trying very hard to bind Krishna. In all three, there were obstacles. And this is very important. Sometimes in devotional service, we think that when we take up bhakti, everything should be smooth. That's why we take up bhakti. But that's not how bhakti is. Krishna will test your resolve. How sincere are you to him? How focused are you with him? How warm and loving and devotional are you to him? And therefore, that test is what Mother Yashoda was going through. You know, when you put up a picture, I see so many pictures here, but if you put up a picture and you use a nail, I don't see a nail here. I see pictures all being pasted up, okay. But if you have a picture, no, you can look at the clock there. The clock definitely is up there because there's a nail. Now, when you want to place the clock there, you will drill a hole, you put the nail in, you knock it in. But before you put the clock there, anybody, who has the sense about them, what they will do is they will test the nail just a little bit, just to make sure it's strong. Otherwise, when you put the clock will fall. So bhakti is like that. When you take up bhakti, you are actually doing something which is very amazing. You are actually asking for Krishna. Krishna is ready to give wealth and health and everything else to everybody. Anything material you ask, Krishna will give. But if you ask for him, then he will be very, very careful. Very careful. Because to do bhakti for Krishna is to ask him to appear in your heart. That is what bhakti is. So Krishna will test you like you test the nail. And therefore, Mother Yashoda was tested. She was tested to the limit. But she passed the test because of her devotional service. And so she said, Krishna, I cannot tie you. Please help me. Somehow or another, I have to tie you. And when Mother Yashoda said that, Krishna decided, let me be tied. Let me be bound. No one can bind Krishna. Krishna is so powerful. Bhagavatam, no, who is that? Kulashekar Alva, great devotee of the Lord. In Mukunda Mala Stotra, text 14, he says this very important thing. Prithvi Renuranur Payam Sikhanikaha Falgus Pulingo Lagus Tejo Nishvasvanam Maruttanutaram Randram Sushukshmi Namaha Shudra Rudra Pitamaha Prabhritaha Kita Samasta Suraha Drishto Yatra Satarako Vijayate Shripadaduli Kanaha. So beautiful shloka. And there we understand how great Krishna is. Because Kulashekar Alva says that our Savior, Krishna, is so great that the earth, which is so great in this world, so big, so vast, in front of Krishna, it is nothing more than a speck of dust. Then he goes on to say, the waters of this ocean, they are so vast, so powerful, but in front of Krishna, before Krishna, they are like droplets. Then he goes on to say, the totality of fire manifest in this world is so great, it can burn everything. But in front of Krishna, it is like a faint spark. Then he says, the great winds, they blow so powerful, and they are so strong and so unstoppable. But in front of Krishna, they are like a faint sigh. Just like that. In front of Krishna. Nothing. Nishvasvanam. It is just like you taking a breath and just releasing it with a sigh. And then he says this entire ether, which is our atmosphere, is so vast, you cannot see end to end. But in front of Krishna, it is like nabihi. It's like a little hole in your navel. That's all it is. And then he says, the great devatas like Shudra, Rudra, Brahmaji, even Rudra, Lord Shiva, they are all bowing before Krishna's immense strength and immense prowess. And Kita Samasta Suraha, all the great devatas, they are like insects. Kita Samasta Suraha, they are like insects before Krishna. You know, insects are nothing in front of us actually. They're very small and they are not very powerful. And therefore, that is the real position of the devatas in front of Krishna. And then he ends by saying, even one particle from the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord can conquer all of this that he has said. Just see, Krishna is so powerful. That supreme personality of Godhead became bound by an ordinary, elderly, uneducated, simple gopi in Vrindavan. Why? Because Mother Yashoda's devotional service and love is the most exalted in Vrindavan. It is so exalted. And therefore, that is why Krishna is bound. So even though Krishna is so powerful, he can be bound by love. And so Mother Yashoda finished her work and she was very happy. But Krishna decided he had one more pastime to fulfill, because he was remembering Narada Muni, his great servant. And so he started crawling to the end of the garden where he saw two very big Yamal Arjuna trees. And he went between them and the mota moved with him. And when he pushed a little bit, the trees fell because of the strength of Krishna. After quoting the verse from Kulashekar Alva, what do you think will happen when Krishna decides to push a tree down? Nothing. Nothing. So he just pushed, the mota pushed the trees down. And the two sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Nala Kuvera, appeared. They were effulgent and they bowed before Krishna. And they said, Krishna, we have been waiting for this for 10,000 years. Because long ago, we were very pious. We were born into the great pious family of Kuver. But because our father had so much money, we thought it was our money. And we became very intoxicated by pride, lust, anger, and greed. And so we wasted our time bathing in the waters of Kailash like Mandakini river. One time we were in the Mandakini river when Narada ji came by. And the ladies who were sporting with us, they put on clothes and they stood and bowed respectfully to Narada. But both of us were so intoxicated with our pride that we thought, who is Narada? We just stood up and we stood before Narada. When Narada saw us, he became compassionate. The true test of a devotee is when you mean them ill, they mean you well. This is devotee. Durvasa Muni meant Ambarish Maharaj so much harm. But Ambarish Maharaj meant him well. It takes a lot to be that as a devotee. That's why Durvasa Muni told Ambarish Maharaj, today I've realized the glories of a devotee. I meant you unwell, but you meant me well. You forgave my offenses. And that is why forgiveness is such a great measure of a devotee. Narada could have taken offense at the behavior of these two boys, but he did not. He forgave them in their heart and he prayed for them. And this is why Narada is so dear to Krishna. The more forgiveness we have in our hearts, the more compassion is manifest. The more compassion is manifest in our heart, the more purity takes force. The more purity is in our hearts, the more attracted Krishna is to stay in the heart. You see the process? It is very scientific. And therefore, in that way, Narada ji cursed the two boys. It appeared like a curse. You two become trees. And when you become trees, you will become trees in Nanda Maharaj courtyard. But when the boy said, please, don't be so harsh with us. Save us from this. The boy, Narada then said, okay, you will become trees, but I am praying for you that somehow or another you will be delivered by Krishna. And that prayer of Narada, which took place thousands of years ago, became fulfilled on the day of Diwali by the Supreme Lord. And he told the two boys, I have nothing to do with you. Frankly, you and I have no relationship because you're not praying to me. But Narada prayed for you. And therefore I must fulfill his desire. Because that is the mood of a devotee. That is the mood of the Lord. The Lord always wants to fulfill the desire of the devotee. And the devotee always wants to fulfill the desire of the Lord. And in that way, they compete. And so the two boys were delivered, not by the mercy of the Lord, but by the mercy of his devotee. And that's why we say, Aham Bhakta Paradino, Hi Aswatantra Ivaduja, Sadhubhi Grasta Hridayo, Bhaktai Bhakta Janapriyaha. Krishna says, I'm not at all independent. In fact, I'm completely dependent on my devotees. And my devotees give up their lives. They master their senses just so that they can serve me. What to speak of my devotees? Even the devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. And thus ends the beautiful pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam. I think the 9th chapter of the 10th canto and the 10th chapter of the 10th canto. Please read this beautiful pastime every day for the next month. If you can't read it, you go to YouTube. So many exalted devotees are speaking about this Leela. Hear from them. And every day that you hear them, no matter how many times you have heard this pastime, it is always relishable. And no matter how many times we say this pastime, it always comes out a little different. Why? Because Bhagavatam is an ocean. Just like the ocean, is such a way you can dip into the ocean today and it will be a different dip. Tomorrow, if you dip into the same ocean, it will be a different dip. And therefore, Bhagavatam is like an ocean. If you dip into it every day, you will experience a different experience. But the denominator of the experience is always devotional service. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Jai. Are there any questions on this beautiful Leela? Yes, Sandeep Prabhu.
Prabhuji, Kuber is a position, right? So why his sons think that the money belongs to them?
The problem is not only the sons, we also think when we earn money that money belongs to us. If we thought money didn't belong to us, we will give so much more money to Krishna. But we don't. We always say, I'm saving for the rainy day. But we don't give it. Only you know your bank balance, Sandeep Prabhu. I don't know your bank balance. But we must ask ourselves, from my bank balance, how much am I really giving to Krishna? You know why we cannot give so much? Because like Nalakuvera and Manigriva, we think the money belongs to us. So it doesn't matter whether it was a position or not. The moment you think you have a position, you think you own it, Prabhu. That is the problem. It's a very good question. That is our problem. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, you mentioned devotional service is dynamic. What does that mean?
Devotional service is dynamic, meaning the opposite of devotional service is to be static. Static means we just do something as a routine. We don't grow. We remain where we are. For example, many people think I should just sit down and meditate on Krishna. But that is static. We should be doing something for Krishna. Serving prasadam, organizing programs, chanting Krishna's names, reading about Krishna, right? Discussing about Krishna. That's dynamic. So you'll find in Krishna consciousness so many activities we can do for the pleasure of Krishna. That is dynamic. And no two activities are the same. And no matter how many times you do an activity, because it's dynamic, you don't feel tired. Like how many years we're all hearing chanting of harekrishna mantra? Many, many years. But it's so dynamic, Prabhu, you don't feel bored. Isn't it? You don't feel bored. You don't feel like, no, I just cannot come to Rishikant Prabhu's program. I can't take devotional service anymore. It's too boring. You don't feel that, you see. You don't feel that. But if we all came here every week and we sat down in 15 minutes, half an hour, we were supposed to just keep quiet and not say anything, then it becomes very static. The truth is in Kali Yuga, to sit down silently to meditate on Krishna is a challenge. Most of the time, the mind will run. That is why for Kali Yuga, chanting his name is best. Because in that way, we are dynamic by nature, and Krishna also is dynamic by nature. Is that all right, Prabhu? Shall we now chant Damodar Ashtakam? And we can light and offer lamps. All ready, Prabhu? Okay. Let's chant. Let's chant. Namami Shoharam Sachidanandarupam Lasakundalam Gokule Brajamanam Namamishwaram Satchidanandrupam Lasakundalam Gokule Bhajanam Yashoda Biyolo Kaladhavamahanam Paramrishtahamadhyam Tato Dhrutya Bhokya Rudantam Muhurnetra Yugmam Vrijantam Parambojayugmena Satankanetram Muhu Swasakampam Trirekakakantam Sthita Graivam Damo Daram Bhakti Bhagam Iti Drik Swalila Virananda Kunde Swagosham Nimajam Tamakyapayantam Tadishitaneshu Bhaktejitadvam Puna Premahatastam Sataviti Vande Varam Devaha Moksham Na Mokshavadim Nachanyam Rineham Varishadapiha Harimo Jai Yashoda Mata Ki Idam Teva Purnata Gopala Balam Sada Me Manasya Virastam Kimanye Mataji, you start moving now. Everybody, come. Idam te mukhambojam adyantalile Vritam kuntalaisne darataischa bhokya Muhuschumbitam bimbaratadaram me Manasya virastam alam lakshalabhe Jai Damodar Ji ki Namah Devah Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabodh Prajalabhimagnam Jai Damodar Ji ki Kripa Drishti Vrishyati Dinam Vatanu Grahani Shamamagyam Midakshi Drishaya Devayadam Vayamochitau Bhakti Bhajo Kripaucha Tatha Prema Bhaktim Swakham Me Prayacha Namokshe Graho Me Sri Damodareha Prema Bhaktim Ki Namaste Sudhamne Spuradipti Dhamne Tvadiyodaraya Vishwasya Dhame Vrindavan Bhumi Dham Ki Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Nandalila Yadevaya Tujyam Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Nandalila Yadevaya Tujyam Srimati Radharani ki Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaya Namo Nandalilaya Devaya Tubhya Haribo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Bol Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Bol Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Bol, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Jaya Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara, Jai Damodar Ji ki, Jaya Vrindavana Dham, Vrindavana Dham, Vrindavana Dham, Jaya Vrindavana Dham. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Shri Yashoda Damodar Ji ki, Jai Shri Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande.
His Grace Devakinandan Prabhu ki.
Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. Thank you, Rishikant Prabhu. So happy to see you. Thank you, Ajita Mataji, for having us over. And thank you to all the devotees for coming together. Wonderful to see so many devotees today. Please keep doing these programs wherever you are. You don't need to have a big crowd even. You can invite 1-2 friends. Just come and light up. Read to them this beautiful pastime. Speak to them. Sing it for about a few minutes. And you have a Damodar program, right? This is a very extended version. But you don't have to do that. You can do that. You can do a very simplified version also. But somehow or another, do something for Krishna. That is very important. So we thank you very much. And now we must leave because we have another program.